Good morning, and welcome to Namaste Today, a powerful way to begin your day. I'm your host, Psychic Astrologer, Sensei Christopher Witecki, here to be of your service and grateful to walk by your side. This audio blogcast is for Thursday, January 26, 2017. So glad to have you back, and Namaste. Well, my friend, it's going to be a quiet and stable day. We have a two-part day. One part is open to balance and tranquility, the other to spirit. But we're on countdown to a new moon, which will happen tomorrow morning. So in your zodiac weather, I'll give you some spiritual life coaching on how to prepare for Lightcast Day. And later in today's tea time, I've spiritually begun to understand that Shakespeare was right. All the world is a stage. And I'll explain to you what I mean later with some tea. But first, let's take a listen on today's mood and your zodiac weather. This zodiac weather is for Thursday, January 26, 2017. Looking at the global Earth moodcast, I predict sunny and feeling stable today. You'll find balance restored to your life, and this will open you up to spiritual truth and calling. And just in time, the moon is wrapping up in the high degrees of Capricorn and will enter in Aquarius tonight for the new moon. Let's take a listen to the planets. Well, friend, we've come to that time of the year where we live a two-part day. As you wake up, Step 6 Aquarius is ruling the day. Step 6 is I receive. And when you wake up to a Step 6 vibration, you really do wake up to potential for balance and beauty. In fact, you may feel very sensitive waking up, maybe oversensitive, and you might have to emotionally attend to that sensitivity. But it's well worth attending to, because later in the day we shift to Step 7, which is I sense and our psychic awareness. So if you do some good prep work in the morning, Sensei says you'll be open and primed to receive message from Spirit this afternoon. And now is the best time to receive that message, because tomorrow morning is Lightcast Day. That is the new moon. In fact, it seems like a spiritual conspiracy, because we're going to be in Step 7 all the way up until the very last moment before the new moon when we move to Step 8. What that tells me is today and tomorrow you'll be pondering something about where you belong in the universe or where you don't belong. And thank goddess, Step 7 is the biggest part of that ponder. As soon as you come to a conclusion or a decision, it's almost like a picture is snapped and we have a Step 8 new moon. In layman's terms, this means you're going to be meditating on something in your life today through tomorrow morning, and it's my bet that you'll probably go to bed still not quite certain, still not fully decided. But after sleeping on whatever it is, you'll probably come to a decision tomorrow morning. And what Sensei is saying is the new moon is almost immediately after you come to that decision, so you better meditate on it good, because as soon as you're ready for a decision, it's almost like a flashbulb goes off and the universe light casts that reality. That new moon will be tomorrow morning in the United States. Now, in the meantime, today, the moon is in the late stages of Capricorn. And that means as you are opening up to receive today, receive higher frequencies, receive information from your higher self, you are, in fact, at the same time planning your future. That's what these late degrees of Capricorn is. So today's probably a lot of inner pensive processing about your future and where you truly sit on this or that. But something sort of magical is happening, literally in the planets. Today, Juno is dead conjoining the galactic center. That's Step 27, Sagittarius. And as you probably know, I believe the galactic center is the eye of God. Juno is where we fall into synergy energy with the universe or someone else. So what the planets are basically saying is, if you enter into that ability to receive and listen to your spirit, there's something about the synergy energy today that's going to unite you to the galactic center. So you will likely align with the story you were born to live. Again, if you listen. The other aspect is keeping an open mind. Mercury is at Step 13 Capricorn today. That tells me that your mind is going to start the day thinking one thing, and by the end of the day have some of a breakthrough and think another way. So truly, something galactic may be going on, and it may be the universe's last-ditch effort to connect you to your higher self before we light cast in the morning. Now, with that said, I thought today would be an excellent day for today's topic about all the world being quite the stage. Go steep yourself some tea, and let's have our daily tea time. Cheers, my friend, and welcome to our tea time. Today's tea time topic is, all the world is a stage. And this is, of course, a quote from William Shakespeare's As You Like It, Act 2, Scene 7. The full quote is, all the world's a stage, and all the men and women merely players. Well, this came to mind the other day when I was in meditation and chanting, because I was visualizing and realizing the truth of our spiritual nature. We tend to take things so seriously, trying to get our life kind of like a hole in one, always strategizing, always stressing, always worrying. And really, I think this statement says it all. All the world is just a stage. In other words, we've come down here from heaven to become and experience our soul's essence. Up in heaven, from what I understand, it's a lot like living in our imagination. We're fully conscious, we have our full mind, but everything we think and imagine just appears in front of us. But it's not real. It's an image, a vision, and we can't experience it as real. So we come down to earth, and we come into the flesh body, and we try to literally act out many of our conscious ideas as souls, and many of our soul's intention. We are all spiritual players, if you will, on this great stage of life, and it doesn't really matter what the outcome is on stage. We're all going to go back to heaven where we imagined it and where we wrote the play in the first place. This literally is us just acting out our spiritual story and seeing what it's like to experience not just the acting out and experience of ourselves, but the acting out and experience of ourselves reacting and co-creating with other souls with their full consciousness. So since we've come to act out our spiritual story, it really does underscore the old spiritual adage that the power is in the moment. If we're here to act out our spiritual story, then obviously the most important part of any day is the moment you're on the stage, the very moment that you're acting it out. And in modern life, I find that we are anywhere but in the present. We're off in the future, we're worried about the past, we're thinking about what ifs with other people, and now with the advantage of cell phones and technology, we are very much not being players in the moment. We are very much not in our power because we're not putting our attention on us playing this scene in which we are merely players. And putting further power in the moment, as a sensei of spirituality, I have realized that how you play this scene determines what happens in the next one. And you may say, oh, that's cause and effect. I say, nay, it's law of attraction. What you be and play in the moment determines what comes or what law of attracts in the next scene. Therefore, whatever you do in this scene right here, right now, is actually more important than anything you can do anywhere at this moment. But play this scene perfectly. Now, when I studied spirituality in the past, and I read Buddhism and all sorts of different spiritual religions, they all really pointed to, especially the Eastern ones, that our power was in the moment. And my ego always resented this because, frankly, I hated the moment. I never wanted to be in it. I always felt powerless in the moment. I always felt not enough in the moment. I always felt like the moment offered nothing. The future was the only thing that got me by. And so I hated the moment, and I focused on the future. Well, I got to share with you, I didn't get very far focusing on the future because all I kept manifesting were more moments where I was focused on the future. There you go right there. What you be is what comes. You be living in the moment thinking about the future brings future moments where all you think about is the future. The future you want never comes because the future you want you never play in the moment. And what I have learned and observed over time is that the smallest moments are far more powerful than the big moments. Everyone thinks the big decisions in life, to get married or not married, to move or not move, to quit a job or stay with a job, everyone thinks these are the most important moments. No, honestly, your power is in the smallest moment, because it's that small moment that determines what options you have for the big decision in the first place. The smallest moments actually bring the biggest change. And if we are here to be our spirit incarnate, if we are here to experience something our spirit wanted, then it is absolutely foolish to not consult our spirit in that very moment. Because if you want to live your destiny, you need to ask your spirit, or at least check with your spirit, before every move in your organic play. And you may ask, well, how do I check my spirit in the moment? Good question. It really comes from your feelings and your heart. So before you make that play in a given day, in a given scene, in a given moment, ask your feelings. How do you feel about that? Ask your heart. Is your heart on board? Does this feel in alignment with your inner spirit? Trust me, your soul will tell you if something's off. So if you want to maximize your moment and bring the greatest return from your spiritual effort, you must absolutely check your feelings and your heart and your inner spirit to feel if it jives with your action. That's where ego can go a little too far. There's another important aspect I want to point out too, and this is probably the most important and never talked about, in my opinion, with spiritual life coaching. And that is how you behave with yourself. Yes, it's important to master the moment, how you live in the moment, how you respond to people. These little small responses are very important because they determine what comes next. But if underneath that behavior you are being an ass to yourself or mean to yourself, well, the universe registers the entire action, both the one you're doing in the outer world and the one you're being in the inner world. So if you play that character on stage that's nice to the world or hates yourself, guess what? Another moment will come in your life where you are nice to the world and you are hating yourself. What you be is what comes. And that means what you be to yourself, and it means what you be to others. Now, I bring all this up because we're on the eve of a light cast day, also known in the pagan religion as the new moon. And further, what that means is that what you be in the next 36 hours will be what profoundly comes in your future. And that's what a new moon is so powerful for. It amplifies that moment of being human. So today, I challenge you, my friend, to be conscious of your moment, to respond to each moment inside yourself and to others according to the way you want your future to be the solution today, now, to your problems, to be the salvation today, now, to be the mercy today, now, to be the compassion today, now to yourself, and see what doesn't come next. Truly, I believe with Shakespeare that all the world is just a stage, and I'm very curious to see what kind of player you are tomorrow, my friend. All right, well, I hope you have a fabulous day focusing on yourself. Remember to give yourself a full 24 hours, so whatever you're meditating on, you don't have to decide until you wake up. But, like a snapshot, that will be what the universe moves forward with. Remember, until next time, I love you, and live, love, be.